What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We got several different things to go over here in this video, including now that the midterms are over, dozens of members of Congress say that monthly checks must be part of negotiations going forward for tens of millions of Americans. We'll go over here that in this video, as well as several different things here for you guys in this video. Remember that part of my commitment is to keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis, and also part of different stimulus items, checks that are going out to multiple different, millions of Americans. Remember, there's about 35 different states that have passed state stimulus checks this year, and also federal programs as well going on here this year as well. The student loan forgiveness is currently in limbo right now, could go to the Supreme Court. Right now, that would be basically a major stimulus program, not necessarily a stimulus check, but kind of the equivalent to it of $10,000 to $20,000 for over 40 million Americans, and really just would be major stimulus type relief for over 40 million Americans, and right now kind of blocked by the court system, but could go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has already upheld actually the student loan forgiveness, and by a Republican justice, Amy Coney Barrett, who was appointed by Trump. So we'll see what happens here, because those 40 million Americans are really, it would really help them out a lot. So let's jump right in because we've got a lot to talk about. We'll get to the monthly checks here, which is something completely different, and we'll go with this here. Also, thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos as well. It helps out our YouTube channel here, and let's go. Well, we haven't heard much about the rail union strike, but it's actually back on. That's right. Yeah, you can see here the rail unions have come back and have rejected the Biden brokered White House deal and have set a stage for a December strike. This is really big news because consumers could pay a massive price increase now that the unions can't agree. This could create a major supply chain shortage for millions of goods across the United States, and could really send inflation into overhaul here. Think about how many goods, even if you don't know anything about railways, just look at this picture here and think about the millions of types of goods across the United States that are shipped via railways. There's a lot. There's a lot. And yeah, here's what's happening right now. Take a listen.
Major railroad union SMART TD has voted down a tentative agreement with rail management, renewing the prospect of a costly and disruptive nationwide strike in December. Shares of major operators, taking a look at where they are right now. Union Pacific, the only one in the green, although just slightly, with the others down right now. Let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Danny Romero, who is tracking the story for us. Danny, we've just got 2 weeks until December. What's the very latest here?
Yeah, so this is the fourth union out of the 12 that have rejected this tentative deal. And as we know that the Smart Transportation Division, which consists of 28,000 conductors, they are going back to the negotiating table. They have until December 8th to really reach that deal. And the president of the Smart Transportation Division said today that they believe that they can settle this through negotiations without a strike. But again, though, the biggest sticking points at the table right now go back to the life benefits revolving around sick leave. But again, those that could be impacted is UPS. They are the biggest rail customer, and they came forward today and telling us in a statement, we encourage an immediate resolution that is beneficial to all parties, and we believe that agreements can be reached. A railway strike can cause unnecessary impacts to the U.S. economy and consumers. UPS will flex our integrated smart logistics network and serve our customers. But again, Kiko, if there is a strike that does happen, the National Retail Federation came forward and also said that not only will this impact holiday goods, but also the upcoming spring merchandise that could be coming in?
Yeah, so there's a significant amount of raises and new benefits in for rail workers here who probably deserve them, honestly. But even just kind of just thinking about this stuff logically here, what will end up happening is ultimately consumers, regular Americans, will end up paying the cost for this stuff. So um, this is part of inflation. So everything that gets delivered to stores and shipping costs and packages, goods, ultimately will end up going up even further because of these type of things. So um, yeah, anything that gets shipped via a rail, which is millions and millions and millions of goods, will now have higher fees, and ultimately that gets built into the products. So this is the type of stuff going on here every single day, or maybe not every single day, but I mean, you kind of get what's going on here. This is the type of stuff that drives inflation, and we're seeing real wages go up all around the country, and we have really seen them go up here over the last several years. We're seeing $15 an hour minimum wage go up in a lot of places, even though the federal minimum wage has not really gone up in years. We're seeing a lot of places really higher at $15 an hour. So when you just think about that, if they're paying $15 an hour, just as an example here, of course, every place varies, right? They have to pay more for labor that's built into their costs. So they're just going to for example, if the railways, if their costs from when they have, let's just say they avert a strike here. And to do that, they're going to have to pay 20% more to the workers to do that, and benefits, which maybe accounts to an extra 5% more in benefits. So 25% more we'll just go with, right? That's going to ultimately end up at 25% more in transportation costs to every single thing that's transported. Ultimately, that's going to end up to 25% more in cost. So anybody who ships something via a railway is going to have to add that to their price. Yeah. So it's just and I mean, again, I get that somebody's going to want to blame this on whoever and this, that, and the other thing, the Democrats, the Republicans, Biden, whatever. This is just really, sometimes some of this stuff just happens. You can let me know your thoughts here in the comments on this. Next up, Congress saying here that you can see the headline right here from Business Insider. Maybe we can zoom that a little bit more. Any future tax breaks for big corporations must also come with restarting monthly checks to parents, 58 members of Congress say. So Republicans and Democrats already starting to negotiate on different priorities here in Congress. Also remember that there's a lot of negotiating going on here on Social Security benefits as well, as the new Congress is going to be coming in here soon. Remember that the current Congress is in there until January. There's a lot of talk right now about the debt limit or the debt ceiling. There's talk that they might try to pass the debt limit or raise the debt limit before the new Congress comes in. They're going to have to raise the debt limit now or when the new Congress comes in. They have to do it or the country will default. They need to do it just to pay the interest on our current debt. There's no way around it. They have to raise the debt limit. They're going to need to continue to do this every year or so, or get rid of the debt limit completely. It's just a ridiculous thing at this point. Honestly, I think at some point getting rid of the debt limit is probably the best choice, because remember, about 99 point something percent of spending goes through Congress anyways and has to be approved by Congress. Okay, so it's really kind of a double check standard that if it's already getting approved by Congress, the vast majority of spending, why do they need to double approve it again? It's like a double negative. It just really, and the problem is it's turning into a negotiation tool where the American consumer and the economy is the ones that get risked on. But yeah, so the problem is that right now Republicans and Democrats are quarreling about Social Security. Democrats want to raise benefits by $2,400 a year. Republicans are like, yeah, we don't think we can do that. We just want to potentially cut benefits to save Social Security. So there's a lot of that going on here. We've been talking about that here on our channel. This one now, in a letter, 58 members of Congress say that any corporate tax breaks should be coupled with the extended credits for families. 58 members of Congress. The expanded child tax credits and earned income tax credits, also known as the adult tax credits for low income adults, both drastically decreased poverty during the pandemic. So the expanded child tax credits, remember that increased the child tax credits from $2,000 per child to $3,000 per child for children ages 6 to 17 and $3,600 per child for children under the age of 6, and had the monthly checks option, which is actually really good because it means that people can just buy food and maybe pay part of their rent every month, really probably just food. And the earned income tax credit, also known as the low income adult tax credit, both drastically decreased poverty during the pandemic. However, monthly child tax credit checks to parents wound down last year amid disagreements in Congress. So, as Congress careens toward the end of the year, some members have a demand: no corporate tax breaks unless anti poverty and family support members are re upped. In a letter led by Representatives Pramila Jayapal, who's the leader of the Democratic Progressive Caucus of about 100 members, and Jimmy Gomez, 58 members of Congress called on Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer not to consider any end of year legislation with corporate tax breaks unless there is also commensurate support and relief for families and workers. So you guys can let me know your thoughts here. Do we need more corporate tax breaks if there's not support for families and people, families and workers? I mean, you guys can let me know your thoughts here. It does seem pretty reasonable, right? That includes bringing back more generous monthly child tax credit checks and extending the adult tax credit checks. A suite of new measures that drastically reduce poverty after being included in Joe Biden's initial stimulus package, the third stimulus package check. You get it. The first round of child tax credit checks alone, under which parents could receive up to $300 a month per child, lifted 3 million children out of poverty. I actually think I've seen a number that was higher than that. The EITC, which targets low-income Americans, was expanded to make childless adults eligible for nearly $7,000. $7,000 tax break, which really just could mean a check back to you. Yeah, that's $7,000. That's significant. Congress failed to renew it when negotiations between Republicans and Democrats stalled, leaving some families struggling. Quote, while this Congress has delivered on many priorities, we have unfortunately been able to continue some of that essential programs like the CTC and that which families still desperately need. The Fed continues to raise interest rates, and it is pinching many families on housing costs, including rising rental rates. Yeah, that means we must be laser focused on ensuring we continue our work to show that Democrats can deliver for children and families before the end of the year by extending two of Biden's era's most effective programs for reducing poverty and helping families meet their basic needs. Yeah, so here's where the negotiations come in play. I've already seen talk about this. One tax measure of particular interest as the year ends is a restructuring of credits for research and development. Under former President Donald Trump's 2017 tax law that the Republicans passed through the reconciliation process completely on their own when Republicans controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency. A change that wouldn't allow companies to deduct those expenses every year and would increase revenue was meant to kick in by 2022. As part of the Build Back Better Act, the House proposed delaying that measure start for 4 years, which would have amounted to an estimated $213 billion blow to revenue over the next 10 years while benefiting large corporations. Senator Sherrod Brown said, I cannot imagine the Senate will give big tax breaks to big companies and to wealthy people without taking care of kids first. A quote from Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio. So, one of the talks here of negotiations is that Republicans want to up this tax break for corporations that was from the 2017 Trump tax cuts, which is going to be expiring. And to pass this, it will need Republican and Democratic support, just like the child tax credits will need, just like the adult tax credits will need, just like the Social Security bills will need, just like pretty much anything will need. Okay. Well, except for executive orders. Okay. So now that this Republican thing is expiring, these corporate tax cuts, Democrats are saying, at least some Democrats, this is not like finalized or anything yet. If you want us to pass this Trump tax cut for corporations that's expiring, we may do that with you if you pass the adult tax credit and the child tax credit that expired. It was there last year, and this whole year hasn't gone by. Now, the monthly checks obviously can't go out this year, but they can still, it's basically over. So the monthly checks can't go out, but they can still send out the increased checks of $3,000 to $3,600 instead of $2,000. And maybe even up it for next year, 2023 as well, and do the monthly checks. Okay. Also, the same type of negotiations for Social Security and seniors as well. So this is basically how a lot of things are going to be happening in the House and the Senate. Uh, give and take, or just find common ground. Say, um, I have a proposal, and find the common good, call, email, tweet your senators and say, this is what our constituents want. We need these benefits. We need this, that, and the other thing. Let your elected representatives know. I mean, hey, they were just elected. They were just elected. So if you elected Republicans, if you elected Democrats, they were just elected. So at this point, those are your representatives that were literally just elected. So these are people that are there for at least 2 years in the House. If they're senators who were just elected, they're there for 6 years. If they're senators who have been there for a while, maybe they're up for reelection in 2 years. But these are people that are there to serve you guys, to serve you guys. So they get government paychecks. So they're there to work for you guys, the constituents. So I'll keep you up to date here on all this stuff. Remember that there's actually been more support like this in the last few years than ever before. So, yeah, you think about three stimulus checks, rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance. The child tax credits got up to the highest amount ever, $3,000 to $3,600. Now, Social Security is a big thing going on here as well with the negotiations over that and how to fix Social Security with a lot of different ideas. So I'll keep you up to date here on that as well. In fact, I just did a video on that I'll link you to here next, so you can get some more information on that as well. So make sure you're subscribed down below to our YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, it's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on our new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. After you click the subscribe button, click the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live here with new videos. Also, we're giving away cash to some of our viewers here if you can guess the answer to our trivia questions that we have every single day. So make sure you see those here as well, because we're doing about one trivia question every single day. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos as well. And you can click here to watch my newest video next. And here is another video about the Social Security negotiations going on here as well. So click on one of those videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.